I'm going to start off with a little research here that I think is pretty fascinating. We all have databases, right? We got contacts on our phone. We got contacts in Google and Outlook, contacts all over the place, right? Probably some of you are using a CRM too. Contacts live in there too. But what's fascinating is that 88% of the people the average agent talks to never make it into their database. Pretty fascinating, right? They're people that we interact with because we're part of the fabric of our community, right? Local events, volunteering, community events, maybe sideline of a soccer game or baseball game, hockey game, whatever it might be. These are all part of your sphere. But we don't get all those contacts into our CRM. And that's because it's really hard. Traditional CRM is like an empty box or an empty filing cabinet. We have to do a lot of work to put it in there. Got a first name, last name, email address, phone number, log all the activity. Takes a lot of work just to get a little bit out of a traditional CRM. Nobody loves all that busy work. And that's where Cloze is very, very different. In fact, we discover all of those connections for you automatically. There's these things that we call electronic breadcrumbs. It's the connections of all those relationships that are happening. Maybe a mailing list, you're CC'd on a mailing list for that soccer team or Chamber of Commerce event or some kind of charity you're working with, volunteering, whatever it might be. But all these communications are happening. And so we go back in time as far back as we can go across your email, your calls, your texts, meetings, all that digital activity that you have, and map out the relationships for you, for your entire sphere, that full 100%. We keep track of it for you so you don't have to. So it's always there when you need it. In fact, our AI is even going to surface people out of that automatically for you as you go. The way we do that is when you first get going, we're going to have you connect all the places you communicate and a whole bunch of other apps and services too, if you'd like. You can connect as many email accounts as you'd like, Google Calendar, Outlook, Slack, Dropbox, Google Drive, all kinds of productivity apps, all kinds of contact apps, and lots of other apps and services. In fact, you can connect your mobile phone to Cloze. We're the only app out there, the only CRM out there that tracks your calls and texts on your iPhone. So your real phone number. You don't have to change phone numbers or get another phone number or anything like that. And I know a lot of other CRMs do that. With Cloze, you keep your number. Just dial like you normally do through your AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whatever you got. And we're tracking all of that automatically. Same thing for Android. So what that means is you get a really rich, full picture of all your communications automatically tracked right inside of Cloze. A lot of activity, a lot of interesting things you can do with it on your behalf. Now, of course, when you have all that kind of information going through a platform, a natural question is, well, what about privacy? Key thing here is no one can see your personal content. Nobody can see your text messages, your emails, contacts, or anything like that. No one at Cloze, in fact, can see that private information. Nobody at EXP, nobody at your team. Even your assistant, they can't get in there unless you explicitly allow them. So you have a lot of privacy controls. In fact, we operate all over the world, as you might have noticed on that last slide. And so we follow the much stricter data protection and privacy programs that exist throughout the world. We have to. We actually have to do it by law. And they're much better, frankly. And you see that in California and a lot of other states are adopting similar data protection rules. So that privacy is there for you. Another thing that's very unique about Cloze is that a lot of traditional CRMs are one big database. And what that means is your information gets commingled with a lot of other agents, which you've probably experienced, makes it really hard to get it out. It also doesn't make it very portable. When we talk about portability with Cloze, we mean you can really unplug. And we see this all the time. Agents will take their Cloze account from one brokerage and go to another. I know nobody likes to talk about leaving, but if you're going to invest in a platform, you want to know you can get your data out. And I completely agree with that. What makes Cloze very different is that when it comes to how we organize, every single agent has their own unique database. That's why they can plug and unplug. So you can rest assured that your information is not commingled with anybody else. It's portable and everything is private. Makes a big difference. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask our team as we go through. But again, connect as much or as little as you want to Cloze. I do highly recommend connecting your phone because you get that really rich profile of your activities. The calls and texts are really where we live these days. So getting that information in is very, very helpful. But we have privacy controls around things like friends and family, which is that gray area, right? Where we do business with our friends and family. So we have privacy controls around that too. Now let's go in a little further here. So a good example of how Cloze uses all that information to do things to help you, right? So we use, in order to do AI really well, you need lots of information. So in this example, we're analyzing, Cloze is analyzing your email messages as they go by and looking for things. So in this example, a client is saying, give me a call Saturday morning. Well, that's something you need to do. So it's pulling that out and it's going to remind you on Saturday morning to do that. Super helpful. So again, acting as that personal assistant. At the bottom here, it's going to pull out any information that you haven't already added to the contact. So what you're going to see with Cloze, especially if you get maybe you get a new referral, new lead, you start interacting with them, we're going to create the contact for you automatically. We're also going to look for information in email signatures and automatically update the contact. So you never have to create a contact. And if we find anything new, we update it automatically for you. So you don't have to do it. The only thing you have to do is say, is this a buyer or seller? Is it warm, hot, that kind of thing? Otherwise, we're taking care of the rest. And then, of course, we're keeping track of all those calls and texts and everything like that. An important thing to know about that part is that you dial outside of Cloze. You don't even go near Cloze. As long as your account's set up, or you email outside of Cloze, we're still keeping track. So it's always working for you behind the scenes. Now, we use all that information to understand patterns in your communication, and we'll nudge you at the right moment to reach out. So as we're working with clients, we'll talk to them every certain number of days, things like that. Well, Cloze is going to catch on to that and automatically remind you. You can also fine tune this and say, hey, for all my hot buyers, hot sellers, that kind of thing, remind me every 2 weeks or every week or every 3 days or whatever you pick. But the key thing to know here is it's not an arbitrary date in the calendar. It's not just repeating every 2 weeks. It's based on your real activity. So if you're constantly talking to them, it's not going to remind you because you're already talking to them. So it only reminds you if you forget. It nudges you to reach out. Another really interesting one we do here is we call them a blast from the past. Because we're going back in time, as far as we can go, we're going to look for those people that you once had strong relationships with, and we're going to surface them too. Maximum of a couple a day. We don't want to overwhelm you, but those people tend to be clients you worked with, you had a strong relationship with. So what it does is it brings it all together for you, catches these interesting opportunities and puts them back in front of you. And those are really that relationship goal because they knew you and worked with you, and there's really an opportunity. We get stories all the time from agents where they'll reach out to it, says, I don't know how you caught this person, but I used to work with them and they're ready to sell or they're ready to buy. Thank you for nudging them, putting them back in front of me. You're also going to see at the top of what we call the Cloze agenda, I'm going to give you a demo in a moment of this, our automatic goal tracking. So if you've ever used the Apple Health app or Apple Watch, you see those rings that are on your watch. And this kind of follows the same pattern. And we could probably talk about this for a full hour, just this one topic. But what's interesting about it is that a lot of goal tracking systems, you have to do a lot of work to set it up. I don't know if you've ever set any of these up, but they tend to ask a ton of questions and it really takes forever. This is all done for you automatically. So just like with the health app, it looks at how your activity has been going, right? So how much do you walk, run, stairs, all that kind of stuff. It's tracking all those things for you automatically, and then it sets goals and then it try to nudge you along to make sure you're keeping pace with all of that. Cloze is doing the exact same thing. We're going to analyze all that communication history, figure out how often you reach out to your sphere, how they react back to you. And then when you connect your dot loop or sky slope, we'll know how many sides you're doing per year. It'll bring that information in. So all the goals are based on how you operate. So you don't have to do anything to get it going, but it will gently nudge you along the way to make sure you're on pace. You'll see that there. So encourage you to dig into that as we go, but it's really, really helpful. We're going to do typical stuff too. Again, with that sky slope or dot loop connection, when you connect it, we're going to bring in your past sides. So we're going to know purchase anniversaries, sale anniversaries, and then remind you of those key dates. So you can set those up for any contact too. If you have birthdays in your Google contacts, we'll bring those in, things like that. So what's included in the CRM of choice program here for Cloze? Our CRM is included. So everything we've been talking about here, of course, our marketing automation as well. So all kinds of stuff from beautiful marketing mail, our AI assistant, we call that our ghostwriter. I'm going to give you some demos of that our Canva integration. And this one I think you're really going to love. Very robust integration because, and this is where I think what you're really going to like about it is, I know today you have a very strong partnership with Canva through EXP. What's different about the integration and how we're partnering with your marketing team is that with Cloze, you can send any listing to Canva and we're going to pre-populate all the marketing materials automatically for you. So no drag and drop, but all the information will be there. So all the photos, details, features, anything you got, all that gets populated. So just a couple of clicks, and I'll show you a demo in a second, will be automatically filled in for you. Saves a ton of time. You can do social media, you can do videos, all the stuff you do with Canva, but no drag and drop, just single click out of Cloze. It just goes right over. And then we have all kinds of campaign automation you can take advantage of too. Last piece, our lead management capability. We call it Cloze Leads. Biggest takeaway here is if you get a lot of leads, and that could be from any website provider, any service you use, Cloze can extract that lead information out of your inbox and make sure it gets into Cloze. Lots we can do there. So just know that we can do that for you as you go. I'll give you a little demo and talk more about that in a little bit later, but lots you can do there. So it doesn't really matter what website provider you have. We can make sure those leads get into Cloze automatically. We pull it right out of your email alerts that you get from the lead providers. All right, I'm going to jump in, give you a demo here. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to give you a demo on my phone. So start there, and then I'll jump over to the desktop. So here's that goal tracking at the top, and you can see I'm ahead of pace so far for the week, but I got a few more sides I got to close in June. So there's automatic pacing in there. It'll tell you if you're ahead or you need to catch up a little bit. It's also really smart though. It knows how you operate. So if you do most of your outreach on a Wednesday, it's not going to start pushing you on Monday and Tuesday. It just knows when you usually do that work. It knows what days you're a little slower or too busy to do your outreach. It understands that. It also understands seasonality. So if July and August are quiet, like they tend to be, it's not going to be pushing you too hard on the sides, but it'll pick up again in the fall. So it understands that kind of activity. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and start off with those keep in touch reminders. So you can see here, I got 5 people. Cloze is nudging me on today. Gina, 27 days ago was the last time we had a text. And then I got Robert and Kyle 7 days ago. Both had calls. So Cloze is understanding, again, by analyzing all that communication history, how often I communicate with these people that are in my sphere. And then from there, you can take action. So one thing that's important to know about how we work here is we're not just giving you a to-do list. This is about giving you an automatic routine where you can take action right here on the agenda. You don't have to bounce around and go over to the call app. You don't have to go somewhere else to text. You can do all of it here. Now, if you do decide to go somewhere else and do the work, we're still keeping track. That's totally fine. But it's designed for you to take action right from Cloze. That's why I like to start off on my phone, in fact. So if I'm doing my follow-up in the morning, I can dial right from Cloze. I don't have to go somewhere else to do it. I don't have to pick up my phone. So as you think about your routine, you can start on the Cloze agenda. And we don't want you spending lots and lots of time here. It's designed to make you very efficient and give you opportunities throughout the day to kind of finish off your agenda. If you do that, it'll make a remarkable difference in your business. This is all about how do we help you with your sphere? How do we help you stay on top, stay in live flow, and then really supplement all the other work you might do in an automated way. So let's look at Gina here. Very simple swipe action. So I can swipe if I go all the way to the right, and then I can just tap on her phone number and dial her up. If I was to tap on that number, it'll dial right through my iPhone. But again, if I just went over to the phone app and dialed her there, we're still keeping track. Now, if I release there on mail, what you're going to see is we have a built-in template to get you going. So it's a starter template that we have there. I haven't talked in a bit, so I thought I'd reach out. You'll notice this looks like an email app because we are an email app. So when I send this, it's going to go out through my Gmail account. I'm going to see it in my sent folder outside of Cloze. To Gina, this is just like any other email I've sent because it's just sent through my Gmail. No difference at all. Cloze is an email client, so we're just like the stock app that you get on your iPhone or your Android, Gmail, Outlook, same thing, operate the exact same way. That's what I use to send and receive email. I use Cloze. Okay. So if you look here, one of the first things you're going to do is set up your email signature, and we're working with your marketing team to get a bunch of EXP examples in there that you can use to get you started. Give you a tip on this one. So we've got these built-in templates to get you started. If you look in the lower right corner there, there's a light bulb. If I click on that light bulb, if I tap on it, you're going to see what we call our ghostwriter. I can rewrite this to create something original based on any of these options here. I'm going to pick authenticity, and there you go. Haven't chalked in a while, so just wrote another example. Now I'm going to tap on it again. I can either say try again, or I can say write a new subject for me. Long time no chat. Let's catch up. So it created a new template for me, a new subject line, a couple of taps. That way, if I'm doing a lot of outreach, I can make the content unique each time. It's not the same template, but you can use our starter built-in one to get you going. Now, a couple other tips while I'm in here. Upper right corner, show you a couple of favorite features. Drop down menu there. You're going to notice some things here. You can schedule email to go out in the future. I tend to do email late at night, so sometimes I do it late and then I'll schedule it to go out in the morning. So I could say tomorrow and then 9 a.m. or I can pick a time, whatever I like. Follow-up reminder. This one I love because I think we've all done this. We send an email and then we forget we even sent it. So in this example, it says, if no reply, remind me next week. So if I don't hear back from Gina, Cloze will remind me. Again, just kind of making sure we're on top of that follow-up. It's really easy to miss stuff. And then that bell icon, it says tracking. That's probably one of the most popular email features we have. It's email open and link click tracking. So when Gina opens this email or clicks on any link, I'm going to get a notification that she clicked on it or opened it. Really helpful. This is one of those kind of addictive features. You use it a few times. We hear from agents all the time saying, I love that feature. That's what keeps getting me, going with Cloze. So when you go into the agenda, send a few emails, and you'll start to see how that works. But what's helpful about it is you actually know, and you'll see like a little flurry sometimes of open notifications, and then they're going to call you or text you or email you back, whatever it might be. So very popular feature. Okay. So the idea here is to work down the list. You can do the same thing with, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. That was funny. Magic of a live demo. So you can swipe, simple, do that for any of them. You can also go the other way and skip. So if you want to skip Robert this time, it'll just pick it up on the next cycle. So it's easy to do. Or you can mute him if you never want to talk to him again. You can do that too. So work down the list. The goal is to try to do this every single day, get in a routine. Top performing agents, they always have a routine. So just build it out and it will make a difference. You'll see people on there that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that or I missed that. Even your leads, as we automatically bring them in, we're just going to keep you on top of those automatically. So a few more things here: birthdays, purchase anniversaries. Again, if you connect .loop or SkySlope, we're going to set those purchase and sale anniversaries for you automatically. You'll see different templates. Can you believe it's been a year? That kind of thing. Birthdays. Same thing. Again, remember that light bulb, that ghostwriter. You want to rewrite it. We can automate these. So the important dates could go out automatically. There's a simple toggle you can turn on. Birthdays, purchase anniversaries, any of these kind of things can be automated. But a lot of agents like the little extra personal touch, or they like to see the reminder and then be the person who picks up the phone or sends a text, that kind of thing. So they're there. They can be automated to this point, and then you can pick it up from there and add a personal touch, or you could fully automate them if you wish to do so. Right here, open note mail here, some examples of what those notifications look like. So when you do get an open, you're going to see it here on the agenda. You'll also get a push notification. So you'll see it on your lock screen of your phone or your watch, or whatever you're using. New leads. Let's take a look at this one. So this is a pretty simplistic example, but what we're doing here is extracting the lead information right out of the email. So we're pulling out this lead and automatically extracting her name or email address and all of that. So what it does for you is pull that information out. All you got to do is accept it and you've created the contact. Really, really easy to do and Cloze. And so if you have a lot of leads coming in, they tend to go there and, well, they don't really get any further. A lot of CRMs, they're just lost in your inbox. They never get into the CRM. So what Cloze will do here is extract that information for you and make sure it gets into the CRM so you get the follow-up. This is a simple example. The reason I call it a simple example is we can auto accept it so you don't even see it on the screen, and it just goes by and starts a drip campaign. So it starts to follow up with them automatically, and you can engage when they engage. First email out could be, here's my phone number, book an appointment on my calendar, that kind of thing. So you can really automate this follow-up and make sure none of those leads slip through the cracks. I bring this up because if you have a website provider you really like and you're already using them, those leads can flow right into Cloze very easily. So down a little further, you're going to see all your meetings coming into Cloze automatically. So meetings from your calendar, those are going to be there. Kind of reinforce some best practices here. You can swipe to reconfirm. Easy to do. And then when your meetings are done, you're going to see them at the bottom and you can simply swipe to add notes. This whole bottom area, I really call this my end of day wrap up routine because it shows me all the calls I had, all the finished meetings, and I can easily just follow up. We give you built-in templates to do it. Great talking today. Just little simple things you can do to stay on top of it, and Cloze is just gently nudging you to do those things. And when you're done, you can just swipe to clear them off. And here's an important message that Cloze flagged. I'm going to tap on that and let's see. So it's setting a reminder for me at 6 p.m. my time. You can see the when there. And what Cloze did was analyze this email, and somewhere in here I need to get something done. So let's see. There it is. Please send me anything that fits the bill this evening. So Dave here reached out, sent me an email this morning and said, hey, I need something this evening. Well, Cloze caught that and is reminding me so I don't miss it. So if we're out all day, something busy, easy to miss stuff in our inbox, Cloze is always out there watching for us. All right, let's take a look at a profile. So a pretty good example of a profile here with Gina. Timeline view, you're going to see that first. So this is that timeline of all your communication history with that person. So calls, texts, emails, everything. You can see all those text messages, a call, an email. Cloze is keeping track of it. You can tap on any of these to expand. So if you want to expand it, you can. You can even reply right there. But Cloze is keeping track. Again, all the activity outside of Cloze getting pulled in automatically. Notes, these are all the notes I have with Gina. Files, this section, you're going to see all the attachments. So any email and attachment will be here. You're also going to see Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, DocuSign, you can see here, all automatically. So it's a really helpful way. Instead of uploading documents into your CRM, we're just using the places you already store your documents. Just makes life easier. In fact, Google, if you just mention Gina Harris in this example, her name in any Google Doc, it's just going to link automatically. So it's really easy. To do, these are all the important dates that you have. So it could be wedding anniversary, purchase anniversary, birthday. You'll see all in one place. Anything that's past due, coming up. If I tap on About, now this section tells you everything that you need to know about Gina, and that's where you can house it. So there's a lot of places you can store information here. You don't have to use all of them. We'll start at the top. The relationship section, this is all about the journey. So where am I on the journey with Gina? You can see she's gone from warm to hot. So she's a hot, and then you can see buyer. So she's a hot buyer. If I tap on the drop down there, you can see I can set her to be a seller and things like that. So it's a good way to understand exactly where I am on that journey. If I go down a little further, you're going to see a bunch of areas that are collapsed and they can be expanded. So it can be things like contact info. It's all right there. Some quick notes I have, at a glance notes as we call them right there. Details. This section tells me a variety of different things. So who referred Gina to me? So I'm a Sphere agent, so I got a referral from Monty here to talk to Gina, and that's how I got my lead. And then a couple of other interesting ones here. Spouse and children. So Max is Gina's spouse. So I've linked him to her. If I tap on Max, it brings me over to his profile in Cloze. Really, really handy because I know exactly who the spouse is. Some people actually add kids too because they like the birthday reminders. They can track other things like lead source and that kind of stuff. I'm going to expand important dates. Important dates, birthdays, wedding anniversary, real estate review, purchase anniversary, all good ones to have in there. Okay. So along the bottom there, you can see inbox, people. These are all your contacts, properties. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop here and give you a view of that. So you can see it's the exact same thing. The only difference is we have a little extra space. So if you're on your computer or on a tablet, so an iPad, Android tablet, you're gonna see the extra space there on the right. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. You can see all the same information. You're gonna see these rollover options here. So for Gina, If I tap on the arrow, it brings up that same email we were looking at earlier. So there's that template. Lower right, there's the ghostwriter. I can rewrite and just like we did before, have it write something different for me. And it will give you lots of options. You can try again so you can see. So same idea, lots of options there for you. So as you go down, exact same thing. Again, I like to start off on my phone because it gives me a way to just make those calls right from there. Okay. All right. I'm going to go over to the people section. People section, this is where all your contacts are. So after you set up your account, you're going to come in, all your contacts are going to be there, and this is where you're going to see them, and you can start organizing and you can start interacting with them. Now, when you're in here, you're going to notice there's a lot of different views. If you tap on the drop down here, you're going to see those different views. I like the table view I'm in right now just because it gives me a nice compact way to see all the different information. I can take action. I can dial email, text right from there. I can change the columns, what's available, things like that. I can change the sort order. Sort order within Cloze, just quick comment on that, is we use all that communication history to give you some really interesting sorts. So these are some of my favorite. First met, last interacted, they last engaged. So this is all based on that live communication data that we're tracking for you. So when was the last time I interacted with somebody? When was the last time they reached out to me? When did I first meet them? So those kind of things can be really handy when you're looking for things. When was a contact created? Or even our AI recommending contacts to classify. So ones that you're engaged with, we're saying, hey, you're engaged with these, you should probably organize them. Tell us where they are on their journey so that they're easier to find for yourself. Okay. So lots of things you can do there. Let's go through some practical examples here. I'm going to go back to Gina and show you one thing. So notice across the top here, I got foodie, gift, holiday card, newsletter. So these are what we call tags. Tags are another way to organize when you're outside the journey. So Gina, at some point, she'll be finished with her journey, her buyer journey there, and she might be closed, right? But I still want to find her in other ways. So that's where tags come in. So I'm going to find all the people on my holiday card list. So I just put on a hashtag and then started typing holiday card. So now this has been filtered to all the people that are on my holiday card list. Okay. Tap on the check mark. I selected all of them. Now that I've selected them, I can do some different things. So I'm going to tap on this check mark here, and you can see a variety of different things I could do. I'm going to say mail merge to. What this is doing is giving me an opportunity to send an email to all 101 people uniquely at the same time with one click of the button. So I got 101 contacts. You can see right here, it's kind of small, but flipping through their names. So Bob and Joe and a bunch of other contacts, just flipping through their names. What that's signifying, it's just a little hint that each person is going to get their own unique copy of this email. It's going to go out through my Gmail or whatever service you got. I got Gmail connected here. And when I look at my sent folder outside of Cloze, I'm going to see all 101 emails all sent uniquely. So each person here is going to think I just typed up an email just to them personally. And it's not a mass mail. It's a real email. So it's going to land in the real inbox. It's not going to get pushed off as spam or anything like that. So let's go to the ghostwriter here again. And I'm going to have it create some new content for me. So we got 4th of July coming up. So when I say wish a client happy 4th of July. And then you're going to see some simple things you can do. So tone, authentic. I'm going to leave it as authentic. We looked at some of these a few minutes ago. Language, you can translate to any language you want. Context is an interesting one. I'm not going to do it in this one, but you can do things like add your personal bio. So what's your history in real estate, some top accolades, that kind of thing. And then that will give it extra context about you when it's writing any content. It could also be information about your brokerage, your team, all of that. So it just makes the content a little smarter. Keep it short, generate a subject, start writing. And you can see it just wrote a nice little email here for me. So I don't have to worry about that blank piece of paper. And there it is. I got an email. That's super helpful. Now, I can just push send at this point, and all those emails are going to fire off. I'm going to show you another tip. If I click on this, I can add recipients. So remember that example I showed Gina earlier, adding her spouse? I'm going to click on spouse and add to the to line. And now when you look at this area here, you're going to see some multiple people go by in a few spots. So what we're doing is you can see Sadie and Hank, Sarah and Kyle. Those are the spouses now added to the to line. So now it's even more personalized. So I'm not only emailing just one person, I'm emailing the spouse, the partner at the same time, which is even more personalized. So what we're trying to help you here is how do we help you scale in a very authentic way? You're still being authentic, you're still reaching out, you're still doing it in a personal way, but you're doing it in a very efficient way. Now, you want to go further, you can even customize. So I could customize just for Ralph and Rita here. I can put in anything, type anything I want in here, and that note will go to those two. So a good way to scale up what you're doing. All right, so that was just a simple example. We got all kinds of analytics. You can look at, see how that performed and things like that. Not going to go into that right now. What I want to switch over to now is our Canva integration. So I mentioned earlier, the nice thing about this integration is we're going to help you build your marketing content in Canva in just a few clicks. As part of our partnership with EXP, we are bringing in all of your listings for you automatically. So when you sign up for the program and you sign up for your EXP through the EXP system, we're going to bring in your listings automatically for you. So I'm going to pick a listing here. Imagine this came in through the automation. And I've got 1044 West Hill, Bear Island. Nice property. You can see all kinds of nice photos here of this property. A little out of my range here. Pricey one. The upper right corner, click on that more options link, and you're going to see send to Canva. So I'm going to click on that. And then what it's doing here is bringing up all the templates that are available to me through my Canva account. So your marketing team has created an amazing array of templates for you. So what we're doing right now with them is working on setting up these templates so they work with this feature I'm going to show you here. You can also create packs. So you can have individual templates. You can see a whole bunch of EXP individual templates. You can just pick one. Or if you got a new listing and you want to create a whole bunch of stuff, all your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, some ads, flyers, all that stuff all at once, you can do it as one click. So I'm going to click on this. So now I got my property. There's Alex Estate. That's the fictional me. That's not what I look like. And then here's all the templates it's going to create. So I'm going to click on the create button. And then it's going to take a few seconds, but it's going to create 9 unique designs over in Canva. So in a moment, you're going to see it flip over to Canva. When it does flip over, all those designs are going to be what we call auto-filled. And so you can see it's kind of coming up here magically. So now there's all that content automatically created in just a click. So let's look at a flyer here. So very quickly, it created my flyer. So there's the image, the price, the square feet, beds, baths, the address. There's the description, all my properties. There's all the contact information for myself. Easy to do. We even added the QR code automatically, and that'll go to the listing page you had. So all these templates are going to be available as soon as we get them approved through your marketing team. So they're well aware of it. They're super excited about this because it really extends the capabilities of Canva. So this is coming soon. We're just getting in the final steps here of getting them approved with your marketing team. So you'll see them very, very soon. So if you go back, there's some really good examples here. It even creates the ones that are animated too. So it's really nice. You can, these fully animated ones just build, and you don't have to do any drag and drop at all. Tons and tons of time. So I'm pretty excited about this feature. I think you're going to love it. It's really a great way to build out all your materials in short order. One final comment on this. If you have the EXP app installed, or Cloze has an app too, you can drag and drop images and things like that right into, you know, any additional thing. So if I go to my listing here, I could change out images. So if I wanted to change that out, I could easily do that. All right.
I'm going to go back to property. So that's the Canva integration. If you have any questions about that, let us know. But more to come on that soon. We'll definitely have some kind of a dedicated session on just the Canva piece with your marketing team as we go through the summer here. These first sessions are all about kind of showing you the big picture, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty as we go. But again, I think you'll really love that one. All right, so I'm going to go over to the library, talk more, continue our conversation here about the marketing functionality. Within the library, this is where your marketing team can provide content. And again, I think they're going to be writing you content over time here. We're just getting started, so it takes them, they got a lot on their plates, but more and more content will be here. This is also where you can create your own content. So within the context of EXP, there's going to be some branded kind of materials here for you, starting templates, things like that. But you can also create content on the fly. So I'm going to start off with our Ghostwriter. Again, if you tap on this plus right here and then go to Ghostwriter, the nice thing about this is you can create newsletters, drip campaigns, all automatically without really having to learn how to build campaigns using our full campaign editor. So let's try that. Quick goal here. I'm going to pick one of these. I'm going to say educate. These are just built-in ones. You can type in anything you want, but I'm just saving some time here. Drip style, we're going to do newsletters with articles, best match, authentic. Then there's that additional context we could add. I'm going to do 4. You can change the wait time between the drips. Lots of flexibility here, but I'm going to say just start writing. So what it's doing here is it's going to write those 4 emails for me, and it's going to go get articles and content and all kinds of things for me, and even get pictures and things like that. So I've got content that it's just created on the fly. I can hit create campaign, and it just magically created that whole campaign for me. So I've got all these campaign steps. I've got first email goes out automatically. And then you can see it's built all these newsletters for me on the fly. Really, really handy. So explore that. It's a really fast way to create. Those are all individual emails. If you click on one, you can read it and you can make changes and whatever you'd like. If you want to change out an image, just click on the edit. And then you can even bring in pick other stock images. If you just click on stock, you can pick other things you like and whatever you like. That's a free built-in stock imagery capability that we have. Another nice thing that you can do is, I'm just going to pick a template here that I've already built, is that with all the integrations we have, you can bring in content from other services like Canva. So if you wanted to bring in some interesting image that you already created in Canva, you can just drag that over, and then you can see all those templates and things like that that we've already created are all available for me. So I'm just going to pick one. And then if I create that design over in Canva, it's available here, and then I'll just insert right in there. Makes it really easy to do. So over time, again, we'll have more and more trainings on this kind of stuff. Same thing with, like, if you're using BombBomb, you can drag that in, or if you've got a YouTube video, drag it in, pop the URL in. We'll give you a nice preview image. So make it very easy for you to create content in here. So speaking of easy, one of the things that we also we do is we built all of this based on what we call our block system. And so you can create content very quickly by assembling content with blocks. And so blocks are a big, simple way to think of them is it's reusable content. So it's things that you use over and over again. It could be your email signature. It could be a header banner with your team logo on it, things like that. Anything you use over and over again. So you don't have to recreate it every single time you create a newsletter. So let's create a simple template here. Here's a starter. So it's got one block at the top. That's my fictional team name. Got all my contact info, my unsubscribe address, all that stuff. So these are all different blocks. Then I can add content in between to make it easy. I can also drag in any other blocks that I've created previously. So it makes it really fast to just drag in whatever I've got. So anytime I'm
building a newsletter, I can drag anything off I've created in the past. So if you think you're going to use something, using the blocks makes it really, really easy for you to just build out something in just a few clicks, drag and drop it in. Really, really easy. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you here is our multilingual capabilities. So one of the unique things about Cloze is that, again, using all that AI, we're analyzing your communications that you have with your clients. And one of the ways we're doing that is not only to find things you need to get done or pull out contact information, things like that, we're also looking at what language is being used. So if you're communicating with a client in a different language, Cloze knows that and will set that language. It'll know, hey, I'm communicating in French Canadian. I'm going to set it as French Canada and I'm good. So if you operate in multiple languages, you got clients that are working in other languages. We see that a lot with all over the country, but also with our customers in other parts of the world. So what's nice about Cloze is a single template can house multiple languages, and Cloze will smartly put the right language in the right inbox. So it'll say, hey, this is this client you've been speaking to in Italian. It's going to put the Italian version of this newsletter in their inbox. Even if you send to 100 people and it has a mix of languages, it's going to put the right language. So the way this works is, and I'll do a quick translation here. At the very bottom, you can translate content, and I'm going to pick Canadian French. And what it did is it just translated all this content for me, this newsletter, to French Canadian. You can see where it says English, FRCA. So I know which parts are in English and which parts are in French. Now, what it's going to do is then when I send this off to a person that speaks French in Canada, they're going to get this version. So I don't have to create different templates for different things. Really handy. So may not apply to everybody, but if you do have clients that are speaking to you in different languages, this can be super helpful for you, and happy to show you more over time. Okay, I'm going to stop demoing there, and then I'm going to jump back over, trying to keep an eye on the time here. I know a lot of you work as teams, and Cloze gives you the ability to work as a team. So you can work individually with Cloze, or you can work as a team. So I wanted to go through some of the features we have here. If you do form a team inside of Cloze, we've got some different options, and our support team's more than happy to help you pick the right setup for you, because there's different styles of teams. There's kind of partnership teams where everything's kind of even. Sometimes there's top level person, and there's some agents below them, that kind of thing. So depending on the structure, we can help guide you in the right direction there. But in all cases, you're going to see a single unified view of activity, that timeline I was showing you earlier, but now across the entire team. So you can see all the communications across all the agents in one place. So imagine you have one person on the team who does the initial follow-up with the lead, starts talking to them, and then hands it off. The person who gets the handoff is still going to be able to see the history of communication before they got it. Or if you've got somebody else on the team who's working with you and the two of you are working it, you can see each other's full communication. So you avoid that kind of typical dance of, hey, did you talk to him last? Did I talk to him last? Who talked to him last? What was the last thing we did? You see it all right there, right in the timeline. Make it easy. We also summarize it. We use some AI and summarize what's happening. So if you want a quick glance, what's going on with this contact, you'll see that right at the top. That's a feature you can enable if you wish to do so. And what's also really important to know about this is, I touched on this earlier, is that once your account's set up and it's tracking email and calls and texts, it's still tracking it regardless of whether you're in Cloze or not. So if you're away from your desk all day and having phone calls, and it'll still sync things over, that kind of thing. So you'll see it in there across your team. I will say we've got lots of privacy controls too. So if you're concerned about sharing stuff, totally get it. And that's important, because when it comes to our sharing activity, we all have different levels of privacy that we want to maintain. And so you'll see a lot of fine-grained controls around how you share. So even if you join a team, nothing is shared until you explicitly start doing that activity. So you have to take action. We've got the ability to share full content. So share your full content of an email or a text message, or not at all. Or there's a middle ground. We call it redacted mode, which just
tells your colleagues you've had a call, you've had a text, but they can't see any details. So a lot of people kind of start with redacted mode and then they kind of ease into full sharing. We use the full sharing internally because it just makes life so much easier. Yeah, we use Cloze too. It just makes it easier because you like to understand what's happening, and it just gives you an extra layer of transparency, and you just kind of operate that way. But you can ease into it if you wish to do so. Another thing that's important to know is it's not all your contacts, right? Only the contacts that you've decided to share, contacts that have been assigned to you to work on. So only the business contacts, the personal stuff all stays off to the side. So always think of the team view as a subset across all the people on the team, not every contact. That would be overwhelming, and there's going to be contacts you don't want to share. You can also set up call lists, and we give you the ability to stay coordinated across those shared lists. You'll see that indicated with some initials there. That just avoids folks stepping on each other's toes. So if you're both calling off the list at the same time, you got 10 people calling off a list, something like that, you're not both dialing the same person at the same time. You can also set up shifts. So this is especially helpful for routing leads. So you're only routing leads during the shift you're available. So if you've got specific time where you're on duty and you're going to take all the leads during that time, or there's a subset of people that are going to take leads during that time, you just say, I'm available until this time. And then the campaign, the automation, the leads will route to you during that time. So we've got that capability. It can be very helpful. Lots of activity tracking within Cloze. You'll see that in the form of leaderboards. So this is a good example. It tracks all that live information so you know what's happening across your leads, across the team, who they're working with, that kind of thing. But it really gives you a full picture. And you can even add things like bombs, like how many bombs were sent. Depends on what you care about, what you're trying to track. Now, one of the challenges in real estate is that there are a lot of places you can get lead sources from, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them and new sources every day. And because of that, we just get bombarded with them. We, especially in team setting, got lots of leads coming in. And I always like to describe them as going into our inbox, and that's where they go to die. Because unless we're paying attention at that moment, lead gets in there, it gets mixed up with a lot of stuff. We tend to miss it. A lot of these platforms don't have any good way to integrate. They just don't. So what Cloze does is we give you the ability to pull that information out of your inbox and create a contact. So this looks a little technical on the right. You can do it yourself. Our support team can help, and we've done this for hundreds and hundreds of sources. So chances are anyone you reach out to, we've already set up for anybody else. So you can set those up. We'll pull that information. We're using AI. You can add additional information in there too, so you can set tags and stuff like that when it comes in. Lead source, that kind of stuff makes it very easy. And really doesn't matter, coming back to that key point, that doesn't matter what website provider you have, we can still get that information in. Now, when it comes to routing, leads can come in from that capture or any other way into Cloze. And then we've got all the kind of standard and more advanced routing that you need. So round robin, very common one to use, workload distributed among agents, depending on how much they've got on their plates. Jump ball, so the first one to claim it gets it. Lead ponds, that kind of stuff. And then you can filter even further. So zip code, price point, lead source, that kind of thing. Kick off campaigns. So sometimes what we'll see is you route it to an agent, assign it to an agent, and they don't even have to do anything. It just kicks off a campaign in their account and just starts sending it off. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have to even take action. And then even after that, you can do things like claw stuff back, or if there's no response, the lead's unresponsive, kick off a different campaign. So a lot of really nice capabilities there for follow-up, all built in and all included in this program. Now, when it comes to connecting to your website, as I just mentioned, we've got all those places we can capture leads from, and that's really what most people care about, is getting their leads from their website into the CRM, so into Cloze. So we do that all day long. Just need a lead alert. If you're using WordPress, great, easy to do. We do have integrations with website providers. For those, things like favorites and saves and all that kind of stuff, communicate any kind of activity on the browsing activity, you're going to see that show up inside of Cloze. And then the client can keep doing whatever they're doing with the website that you have. So if they're already got saved search, no need to just disrupt that. Or if they're using Zenlist or something like that, great, just keep using all that. Our Zenlist integration is really nice, and will track all that communication you have, what they say, what they save, what they favorite, any messages you have in there. So that's also a really good option for you. So kind of rounding out here as we finish up, what's included in your program, if you're on our website and you've perused that, the Cloze Business Platinum plan. So top plan includes all the key stuff, team support included, no additional cost there. Lead management that I just talked about, that's all included. The multilingual marketing I just showed you, our Canva enterprise integration, which again, I think you're going to really love once you start getting into that. And then hundreds of other integrations you can take advantage of. On our website, you'll see a whole page on integrations. You can search that. But if there's anything you'd like to see integrated that you're not seeing on the list, reach out to us. We're always adding new integrations. And then just to make sure you have kind of the big picture here on what we've already integrated with Cloze. All these are part of your solutions package. So Canva, we talked about, SkySlope, Slack, Loop, all deep integrations with Cloze. Zenlist, we've worked with them for many years now. Really great integration. You're going to see all that activity in the timeline. So if they're favoriting something, they're messaging you through that app, whatever they want a tour of, you're going to see that all build out in the timeline really nicely so you can engage. The EXP dial safe, so the do not contact lists are there. And then your listings are going to come in automatically. That's very important for the Canva integration. So any listing of yours that comes in, then you can create those Canva materials. So just a quick overview here of all the different kind of big picture items, but there's a lot more than these. This is just a good sampling of the ones that we're integrated with. Again, if you go to our website, we've got a comprehensive page there that you can search and filter and that kind of thing. Now, a lot of questions, kind of a common question here about migration. So big picture, we're here to help you if you want to migrate to Cloze. So we try to take as much of this off your plate as possible. When you first sign up, you're going to see a getting started section on that agenda I was just showing you. Highly recommend following those steps. It guides you along. As the summer unfolds, we're going to have training classes that walk you through all of this too. But follow those. One of them you're going to see is called import contacts. That's the first one. What we want to do is get all the contacts you have into one place. So first one, connect an email account. That's going to be done for you as part of the setup process. So you're going to see if you've connected Google or Microsoft 365, your Outlook account, those contacts are already going to be in Cloze. If you connect another source, it'll bring in those contacts too. Phone contacts, really good place to add contacts. We tend to have a lot of contacts on our phone. So you can download the mobile app on your iPhone or Android phone, which I encourage you to do, and then import those contacts. If you have a spreadsheet, you can also import that into Cloze. I know a lot of people meticulously keep a spreadsheet for holiday cards and things like that. We can import that into Cloze too. You can do it yourself, but we have a self-service option. Just send it to us. If you click on this option here, it's going to bring up an email, attach it. You can send us some notes. We may ask you some questions, but we make it really easy. That's the easiest way to get that spreadsheet in. If you got a couple, send two. That's fine too. But the key thing here is we want to help you migrate it. Now, a question that always comes up here and probably in the chat is, what about duplicates and merging and all that kind of stuff? We handle that for you, so don't worry about duplicates. If we see a contact on your iPhone with an email address, and then we see another one that's exactly the same on your Google phone, your Google contacts, and another one in the spreadsheet, and they all have the exact same email address, we're going to merge those together for you, so you don't have to worry about duplicates. We're going to handle that. Same thing if we see the same mobile number across contacts, they'll get merged. So we do it carefully. It's not a just kind of heavy-handed. We've been doing this a long time. We eliminate a lot of that extra work that you tend to have to do with other CRMs. So you won't find the need to do a lot of manual merging. Okay. Question we've been getting is, how do I start using Cloze? Go to the exptoolkit.com CRM of choice /CRM of choice website, choose, join the priority list, and then you pick Cloze. Pick Cloze your CRM. There's some questions in there. That's how you sign up. And then once you're in there, you can dive in and get started. Again, this is our, these are our early sessions here to help you make your choice. We're going to have those deeper dive sessions throughout the summer. I'm just going to take a quick peek, see if there's any questions. So I see one about Canva. Right now, it's focused on your listings. We're not bringing in MLS feeds across the network. not something we're currently supporting as part of this program. So it's just going to be focused on your own listings for now, which is typically what you're doing with all those templates that they provide. All right, I don't know if there's any more questions, but sounds like we've answered the rest. So I think we're almost at the top of the hour here. So appreciate everyone joining today and look forward to seeing you on one of our